good evening, our dear viewers, with another episode of NBC Journal. This episode is actually really interesting and exciting because we have Lana back with us.
Thank you so much, Farah. I'm really happy to be back with you here again. And starting with the headlines for this episode, talking about Balfour Declaration.
And then moving on to the talking about Tuqa, Maher al-Akhras's daughter, who went to visit him.
And talking about trending with Farah, as usual.
And then moving on to talk about interesting events that happened on this date through history.
Yes, and finishing our episode with a special guest to the producer Mayauda. So keep watching and stay tuned.
Yes.
In this month or in this episode, especially we remind the world with the public statement or the promise of giving the land for whom who doesn't own to the ones who doesn't deserve. And this is Balfour Declaration, 1917.
Yes, the Balfour Declaration was signed in 1917 during World War I from Arthur Balfour to Rothschild. The purpose behind this whole declaration and this whole promise is to show the British support towards the Israeli demonstration to take over the Palestinian land from its citizens and from its own owners.
Yes, and to make a homeland for the Jews in Palestine. And do you know that it's only 67 words Balfour Declaration, but it has a lot of huge consequences on the Arab world, on Jews, and in the region, in the entire region.
Yes, after the whole declaration was signed and published to the public, they had like two indirect, let's say, consequences. First of all, making a country for Jewish people on the lands of Palestinian lands and stealing all the goods and even the culture that they have.
Of course.
And starting a Cold War, we can say, with the Middle Eastern countries.
Yes, and the statement of the Balfour Declaration, His Majesty government view with favor the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people and will use their best endeavors to facilitate the achievement of this object. They're doing all of their facilities and tools to do this and to reach this aim.
To actually start this whole movement of Jewish to Palestine. But you know, Lana, I recently read that let's say months ago, Palestinians actually sued the British government because of this declaration. The Palestinians want their right back from the British government, from the UK, for actually signing this when they don't have any ownership of the Palestinian land.
It will always be a colonial document, as some people said, and it will always be a momentous injustice around the world. And like, for example, like here in Palestine, Palestinians are the most infected people by this declaration. And you know, despite all of these proofs around the world and all of these statements and documents that the Palestinians own the land and the Jews came to this land, but the world is just watching this and nobody stands by Palestinians or Palestine.
And you know what's even worse, what makes this whole scenario worse, that back then when they signed this whole declaration, Arab world were against it. They were against this whole movement and this whole declaration and promise. But nowadays, all the countries, all the Arab countries, one by one, are signing a normalization
with Israel and against...
Yes, to normalize their relations against Palestinians' rights, which is really sad to see how things can change.
Unfortunately, this is the power of the world, the power of money, maybe the power of politics or politicians.
Yes, exactly. It's not because of their, let's say, the people of the countries, it's by the rulers of the countries.
Sometimes citizens are always a game to their politicians.
Yes, exactly. The propaganda plays its game and it moves people where they want where they want them to be.
So this is the tragedy month for Palestinians and for Palestine. Hope things will be...
Yeah, we hope things can change to our good. An example of how Israeli actions and practices against Palestinians are always unfair. We have Maher al-Akhras, a Palestinian prisoner who is in prison with no suit and with no legal
Yes, he's under the administrative detention. For people who doesn't know or don't know the administrative detention. It's a way of like being in a jail or a prison with no trial, and and because of this, he started his protesting against the Israeli occupation forces, and now he's under his hunger strike for more than 100 days.
Yes, and we are talking in this episode. We're going to talk about his daughter, his youngest daughter, when she went to visit him. Last episode, we talked about how she was demanding to get inside his room to see her father.
Yes.
But after she went there, the people started asking her how her father is, how he's doing, how his condition. And she said that it was really bad. His condition is really bad.
Of course, she wants her father to be back again with her.
Yes,
she wants him to take her back to school. And this is like each like teeny tiny things a girl wants from his father, to be with her and to stand by her side in her life, especially that she's very young. She's only 5 or 6 years old.
Yes, about that age. This story shows us how Palestinians suffer from the youngest age possible. They don't have their, let's see, teeny tiny rights, as you said.
Yes.
She wants her father to be with her, to eat with them on the same table, and to, as she said exactly, she wants her father to take her places, to go out together as a one family.
Yes. So in this video, this youngest girl of Maher Akhar Stuka is telling the world a message and sending a message to the whole world. So let's see it together.
كيف حالك يا عمو آية؟
الحمد لله.
وين رحتي عند بابا انت على المستشفى؟ كيف صحته؟
مش مليحة صحة بابا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أنا بدي بابا يرجع لكن مش عندهم عنا. من يشاركوننا دائما يرجع لنا قريبا ويروح لنا قريبا. بدي إياه يجي لنا اليوم. بدي إياه يطلع اليوم. يرجع اليوم.
يروح عندك على البيت؟ طيب شو
جاي.
بتحكي لبابا اليوم انت؟
أنا بدي بابا يطلع يروحنا على المدرسة، وبدي بابا يرجع يودينا، يرجع يغششنا، بدي بابا يرجع يشتري ألعاب، بدي بابا يرجع ياكل.
Away from politics, we brought to you a lot of interesting stories and trending stories from China and from around the world. So, hello Farah, and tell us more about these stories.
Thank you, Lana. And yes, as you said, we have many interesting topics, starting with COVID-19 pandemic may have irreversibly changed the world as we know it. But it seems that there are some things that can still be counted on. And struggling towns in Italy selling off abandoned homes at bargain prices in a bid to reverse a trend of depopulation is undoubtedly one of them. The picturesque town of Salami in Sicily is the latest to offer up ruined properties for less than the cost of an espresso. Over the next month, a few dozens of crumbling dwellings will go up for an auction, with a starting price at €1 or a little over $1. The town's mayor, Domenico Venuti, hopes the scheme will breathe new life into Salami, which saw its population shrink considerably when at least 4,000 residents fled following terrible earthquake of 1968 that rocked Sicily's Village Valley. Before launching the scheme, we first had to recover the old parts of Salami where the houses are located, upgrading infrastructures and services from roads to electric grids and sewage pipes. A cute baby was mimicking her parents by putting the phone to her ear, but was comically surprised when it actually rang for real. The video taken on October 21st shows 11-month Skylar May Walsh sitting on her dad's Anthony's knee and giggling excitedly as she pretends to use the mobile. But as the phone starts ringing, she began kicking her legs in shock. Her mother, 22, captured the comical moment when the little girl gets such a fright, she even dropped the device out of her hands.
Where's Dr. May? Where's the doctor, eh? Show me. Show me.
Chinese police have arrested a man after he scattered heavenly rain of banknotes on commuters from his apartment window while allegedly high on methamphetamine. Police said the 29-year-old was in a trance after taking drugs at his home on the 30th floor of a building in Chongqing in southwestern China when he began throwing cash out of the window to the streets below. Local media reported that the heavenly rain of banknotes from the sky and the video of the 17th of October incident have been viewed moreover than 500,000 times.
车子都走不动了哦，全部在下面捡钱喽，马路上捡钱喽，你看到哦？摩托车捡惨了。哎，我都找个摩托车停下来在那里捡来，你看。摩托车捡惨了，来的来的。那是上面全是钱，数字上面。那还在手到起捡喽，还在手。哎，又来了，又来了，又来了！哎呀，又在撒钱喽！那个从飞机上下来的吗？是从哪儿撒钱？
A daredevil skydiver threw herself out of a plane from 13,000 feet while sitting in an inflatable bull ring. Robin Moore, an ER physician from Miami Beach, Florida, went skydiving with fellow daredevil Jimmy Huftels, 22, who filmed her jump on October 17th at River Ranch, Florida, wearing a hoodie, shorts, and cowboy boots. Robin was pushed out of an aircraft while sitting in a rubber ring. Two fellow skydivers jumped out with her and grabbed hold of either side of the ring to steady it as she began to fall. After the jump, Robin said this was a thrilling jump, and as I chose to do it in a cowgirl style. I did have a cowgirl hat, but it was swept off my head immediately on exiting the plane. But the Daisy Dukes and cowgirl boots still made it fun rodeo ride. The campaign that went viral all over the world to boycott the French production in a way of protesting against Macron's announcements succeeded to reach its goals since he took back his statement and announcement that he said that people misunderstood him when he talked about Islam.
Je dirais à l'international pour attaquer la France sur la base de beaucoup de malentendus. Et c'est pour ça que je voulais les lever, y compris avec vous, parce que j'ai suivi ce qu'il y avait parfois dans vos réseaux sociaux, sur votre antenne, et je pensais qu'il fallait lever beaucoup de malentendus. Alors, si vous le permettez, mon premier mot, il sera pour les Français dont la confession est...
Between Heaven and Earth, for the director An-Najah, the Palestinian director, this film went and as first premiered in the International Cairo Film Festival in the Opera House in Egypt.
Yes, and the movie actually gained a lot of praise from many people. The crowd who were in the Opera House in Egypt all stood and clapped for the greatness of this movie. And even the toughest critics in movie industry and the Arab world liked the movie so much.
Yes, they praised this movie and they stood for 10 minutes clapping for this director and for the film. It's always good to be as Palestinians. We are good at art. We are good at many other topics in life, and this is really good and for the existence of the Palestinians in the globe.
As Najwa said, that we are always under this whole propaganda of dehumanization of the Palestinians, and the Palestinian case throughout Hollywood movies and Israeli movies. It's always premiered as we are the victims, the terrorists, that we don't have right of the land.
Yes, in this movie they're talking about a divorced couple.
Yes,
and
middle class
they went
couple.
through so many experiences and stories during a trip from abroad of Palestine, and when they entered the 1948 lands and when they entered Palestine during the checkpoints, the Israeli occupation
the struggles
forces
they faced because of the Israeli
all
occupation.
of the struggles. So they shed the light on the experiences or the daily life of the Palestinians here in Palestine. By using these characters.
They captured a normal human being living under the harsh circumstances of the Israeli occupation.
A middle-class human being in Palestine and their daily life and how they go through so many experiences and tough situations.
And the movie, as we said, it was praised by the Cairo Film Festival. We hope it goes international and to the whole world, not just Arab competitions.
Of course. So let's see it.
سبب الطلاق؟
خلافات غير قابلة للتسوية.
في خربشة بالأسامي.
عشان تخلص الإجراءات لازم تثبت مين أنت.
As usual, NBCT brings you a new and interesting topic each and every episode. And tonight we have with Lana interesting events that happened on November 2nd.
Thank you, Farah, for this introduction. And starting with the Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, co-recipient with Shimon Peres and Yasser Arafat of Nobel Prize of Peace in 1994. He was assassinated this day in 1995 by a Jewish extremist while attending a peace rally. Democratic politician Barack Obama became the first African American to be elected President of the United States. The third thing that happened on the 4th of November is the first film adaptation of J.K. Rowling's best-selling Harry Potter series, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, premiered in London. British scientist Joseph Rotblat, a leading critic of nuclear weapons who jointly with Bogwash conferences won the 1995 Nobel Prize for Peace. Finishing with the UNESCO was officially established as its constitution entered into force. This specialized agency of the UN called for the promotion of international collaboration in education, science, and culture.
Shows how Palestinians never miss a chance to prove the existence of the Palestinian case to the whole world through not just fighting, through culture and movies and art.
Cinema, yes. And that's why we're having today from Egypt the producer, the Palestinian producer, Maya Ouda. So hello and welcome and many congratulations on the latest award. It was we're very proud to have just a Palestinian woman like you and Palestinian producer. So could you tell us more about yourself and the talent and the skill with filmmaking?
First of all, thanks a lot for having me here, and I'm so proud to have girls like you as well interviewing me in English. I guess it's really important to have English journalism in Palestine, just like to have our news also for international people. 200 Meters is a Palestinian film by the first-time director Amin Naifi. We shot the film last year in Tulkarem, Palestine. And it talks about a family that torn apart because of the apartheid wall. It's an adventure of the father that he will do the impossible and adventurous road trip to be with his son in the other side.
Exactly.
we were so really happy about what happened in Al-Ghuna. And as you know, I'm the producer of this film.
Yes.
I have a production company called Odi Films that produce Palestinian short fiction and documentary films.
Yes, this is amazing. We saw the video of when they announced that that 200 meters was the winning movie there. It's really inspiring to see how Palestinians actually got to this point to share the Palestinian case through these actions. I want to ask you, what motivated you, or who is your idol that, let's say, led you to do all these great things?
Wow, first of all, my idol is my family, my mother, that she wanted us to be free, and also my father, that he pushes us to be educated and to follow our passion. And that's that. I studied media in Birzeit University, and I fall in love of pictures and telling stories through pictures. But I discovered after working in the media that the media is so limited. I wanted something beyond the news and the headlines in the news. Yes. And I discovered cinema, and I was in love because I felt that cinema can be very influencing for a lot of people, and it can change as well. So I studied cinema, and I did a lot of documentary movies, and then I decided that I want to help a young Palestinian to develop their stories to be in the big screen. And this is what happened in a lot of short films that I produced, and also with Amin Naife. I really dream to have a Palestinian with all the things that I do. I want to create a Palestinian cinema industry, because I still believe that not only with producing films we can do a cinema industry. We need to create a team, a cinema school, film distribution, also Palestinian TVs buying our films, and also producing films in a top priority, and also create a Palestinian film fund, so we can have a whole cycle to create a film and to make our journey producing a film easier.
Yes, so we have big hopes and big dreams with you, and as young girls, we have like you inspire a lot of young girls and many youths. But talking about filmmaking and producing the film here in Palestine, of course you had a lot of challenges. So could you tell us or tell our people around the world about these challenges, as like comparing to producing films in other countries?
Well, producing a film in Palestine is like a miracle, because first of all, we have a long journey financing the film, because we don't have a Palestinian film fund to fund the project, and also an Arab fund as well. It's not only in Palestine. And then so it took us like really a long journey to convince the European partners to finance the film. Our second obstacles is the occupation. As a producer and creating a cinema and doing also a road movie needs to move freely, and to live in a country under occupation that maybe you will face a problem to have a checkpoint here and a checkpoint there. Yes, exactly. And to be stopped in any minutes, and because also we shot the film close to a lot of checkpoints and close to a lot of settlement and close to the wall, so it was really risky as well. We faced but we managed fortunately to do it and to have a safe production, but it was not easy to plan all of this, and it was also very risky.
And yes, I heard that you need a lot of documents also as well. Many license documents to enter the countries.
To be honest, we didn't need a license. We did it secretly, and we built inside. We built decor. We built the checkpoint from inside. We built it. Our production designer Bashar Hassouni did a great job to do this, and nobody knew that this is really built. But we filmed the checkpoint from outside. So everything from outside, we took it as real. and we planned it how we do it. We did many 3 hours every day, so we don't make a big scene. And we went with a small crew to film the checkpoint and different checkpoints, not just one, and to be close to the wall. But what happened inside, we built it.
Yes,
and it was very big challenges for us and big budget.
What you exactly said, what we were talking about earlier, that the whole world looks at Palestinians in this form of people who are suffering, only suffering, that we don't have life. They don't give us the humanizing, let's say, picture. They don't see us as human beings, normal human beings. What you did in your movie is to show the world that we have normal life.
We are Palestinians. We are human beings. Yes. We live our daily lives. We are normal.
But we still are. But we're still under the occupation.
Yes.
Do you think that by shedding the light on these prospects can give a better impact than actually just like shedding the light on the Palestinian suffering with Israel, let's say, about the wars and the bombings? Do you think that shedding the light on Palestinians as human beings can do more to make the picture of Palestinian better to the international world than just focusing on wars?
I believe in cinema is a weapon, and it can affect more than any word, more than any political statements, more than any peace agreements. Film can influence people more and affect people more because it has a lot of emotions, and so that's why. In this time, practically, we need to focus on making more films that tells the story from our perspective, tells the stories and tells our story in a way. Now we see all this Western and the Israeli government is putting a lot of funds and wants to produce a lot of movies because it produced the movie from their perspective. You know, and movie can tell histories and write histories. So that's why we need to focus very, very, very well about this, and to write our history through our movies. It's actually more important now to make movies rather than to invest in politics.
Yes.
So, we are very proud to have such a Palestinian director who is going to be in the international stadiums in the future, because, we have big dreams in you, and as a Palestinian director, you inspire a lot of women here, and you are the ambassador of Palestine and maybe the ambassador of the Arab world. So thank you so much for being with us, and many congratulations on this award.
Yes, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you here with us.
Yeah. Thank you very much, but I'm the producer, not the director.
Yes, the producer.
Yes.
He's also the
yes, we know. Yes, the producer.
Yes. And inshallah, for more movies to come.
Yes, we
Thank
are
you
waiting
for having you.
We are waiting for more movies from you.
Inshallah. Thank you very much.
Best wishes and best of luck.
Thank you.
And that's the end of our episode, our dear viewers. Hope you enjoyed it with many interesting topics.
It's such a positive interview with this idol woman. I think she's one of the best Palestinian women that can send a message to the world, to the whole world, and make a change. Yes,
exactly. We hope you enjoyed our episode today with Lana back with us here.
Yes, and see you next week.
Stay safe, stay well.